What is up, YouTube? BB368 coming at you with yet again another deck profile. I am a very big fan of hybrid decks that basically you combine two things, like you're basically adopting an engine and then it just happens to work with this other deck and it gains so much advantage. That is one thing I did just find on YouTube when I was browsing through my suggestions. There was a very interesting deck combination of magical muskets with Shaddolls. Now, in theory, it's like, what the hell do you mean? Like, how do those mix together? Just the mere fact of having a cast bar with a Shaddoll fusion, the amount of advantage you just gain from that in and of itself is absolutely ridiculous because, again, it's all about the chain links. And that is the one thing that magical muskets are very susceptible to is hand traps. They Ash Blossom and cast bar, that does hurt a lot because you are using a resource and you're not going to be able to regain that resource back or get the extra special summon or recycle something from the graveyard. That does really hurt the deck a lot. So the mere fact of with now including Shaddolls into the mix, you're able to get that from that initial combo going again, pure going second build. If you can gain that advantage from that Shaddoll fusion, sending stuff from the deck, and then just starting a chain link from there, you're basically going to be able to break anything that your opponent's going to be throwing at you. Well, if anything, let's just get right into it and let me show you what I mean. So obviously you have your pretty standard package for your magical muskets: 3 cast bar, 3 starfire. This is where it's gonna vary a little bit from my previous builds. It's basically one each of all the rest. So 1 kid, 1 wild heart, 1 calamity, 1 duck. I am feeling like bumping calamity up to 2, especially with the master rule revision coming up. Her effect is definitely going to be becoming much more helpful in the future, especially with using using Shaddoll fusion again, because you can easily make construct. All of them are light, so you send 1 Shaddoll with 1 magical musket with her. Her effect will activate on a separate link along with everything else. You can summon out Starfire. If you have another spell in hand, activate upon the Starfire. Activate. She can special summon from the deck automatically. That's 4 monsters on field to make an Appaloosa. So there's a lot of potential for the deck. I am definitely really feeling like bumping her up to 2. We'll see in the near future, but as of right now, this is the main Magical Musket lineup that you run. Then you run 1 Beast and 1 Aerial. These are the main 2. Running any more Shaddolls does definitely become very bricky, and that's definitely not what you want to see with this deck. Well, obviously for any deck, but for this especially, any you run any more, they are definitely very hard bricks for you to really. It becomes very difficult to try and break them out. So, but the amazing thing with this combination, at least, of having these Shaddolls, is that basically. Here, let me demonstrate for you. Let's say you open up with Caspar and you have Shaddoll Fusion in your hand. Go in second. Okay. Summon out the Caspar. Activate your Shaddoll Fusion. They have no responses. Send these 2 to grave. Summon out the Bottleneck. So then this goes to grave. Now it all becomes about your chain links. So now you have to declare what your chain link is going to be. So obviously your first one is going to be Beast. Chain link 2 is going to be Caspar. Chain link 3 is going to be your Aerial. Since that's the last one on your chain link, they cannot Ash Blossom these 2 from going off. You're going to get your 1 search and you are going to get your 1 draw. And obviously you want to do search first, deck thin, so you have a greater chance of drawing whatever card you absolutely need in your hand to either continue or to just win the game. So automatically, the amount of chain links that happens in this deck is just in chain blocking has just become absolutely ridiculous. And you get a huge amount of advantage. So these 2 are the main ones you play, obviously for the draw and for the removal. Here's the really weird one that I'm going to be trying out to see how it does. Because again, it runs with Shaddoll Fusion. I do run Foolish Burial in here because again, if I'm running Calamity at 2, it's just more helpful to have. But the one weird one I am running is Stygian Street Patrol. This is a very old card from way back in the day. The last deck I remember playing this card in was Bell. So basically what this card states is that if it's in the graveyard, the main effect that you need to be mindful of is when this card is in the graveyard, remove it from play, special summon a fiend type monster with 2,000 or less attack. Doesn't say anything about attributes or anything, so that works. It is a dark, so that would easily work for my Shaddoll Fusion for making a window, a possibility. And then, of course, when window comes out, everything resolves, activates Action Street Patrol, summon out another Magical Musket that I hopefully have in my hand, and basically be able to play Protect the Castle with making sure my window stays on field for a while, shut my opponent down from being able to special summon a lot of, like, just being able to spam out to the field allows me to have complete control over the entire field. So it has a lot of uses. Again, we'll see how it plays, but I do like it. We'll see what happens. Then the last of my monsters, which are just the hand traps, basically Joel and Locke, and then Nibiru's. Yes, I finally put Nibiru in the main deck. Not really too sure how I feel about it. Again, we will see what happens with it. Going into these spells, we have Triple Cross Domination, which you absolutely have. It's your monster negation along with your attack modifier. Triple Shaddoll Fusion. Again, with this Shaddoll deck, you need to have this open in your opening as soon as possible, and you can easily mill it with Construct should you be summoning a Construct to the deck. Then, obviously, Triple Call by the Grave. Your Shaddoll Fusion absolutely has to go off, and Ash Blossom, again, hurts this deck very, very much. So, those are your 3-ofs. There is one last set of 3-ofs. Unfortunately, I do not have them yet, but they are coming in the mail. Again, if you guys feel like it is a good tech choice, I would definitely pick them up now. They're like on TCG Player, I think I only paid like $1 or something for it, so definitely worth the pickup. Unfortunately, they have not come into the mail yet, but I will be posting a picture somewhere up on the screen. These are supposed to be 3 copies of Evil Mind. I can't remember what set it came from, but basically this card states it can only be activated once per turn, obviously. If you control a fiend type monster, activate one of these effects in accordance with how many monsters your opponent has in their graveyard. If your opponent has one monster, which 9 times out of 10, if it's a combo deck, they will have at least one monster. Draw 1 card. So automatically draw 1 card, this card resolves, activates one of your Magical Muskets. Free activation, I'm completely fine with that. 4th one doesn't really matter as much. It's basically evil, add an evil hero or a Dark Fusion card to your hand. That's not really necessary for our deck. And the last card, basically, the last part of the card, the last part of the effect, if your opponent has 10 plus monsters in the graveyard, the main thing that we want is add a fusion card to your hand. So automatically you can search Shaddoll Fusion. If your opponent went off and they don't stop this, you're able to search a Shaddoll Fusion to your hand. So automatically now your opponent has to start choosing, okay, do I save my negation for the Shaddoll Fusion or the Magical Musket monster that's about to gain its effect? And again, you're going to have to start forcing out your opponent from choosing, do I stop this simple little card here, or do I stop the monster, or if they add back whatever, do I stop that card? It forces your opponent to have to start making choices. So definitely a 3-of, and again, since I'm not playing Upstarts or Desires in this deck build, you can't, because again, you want to be having your Shaddoll cards going off. I figured take out all 3 and put these in, because again, at least it's a free activation. Your opponent doesn't gain any life, and might as well. Then for the rest of the spells, double Mind Control, 1 Foolish, 1 Instant Fusion, and 1 El Shaddoll Fusion. Iffy on the El Shaddoll Fusions, but in my testing, I have seen that there has been definitely a possibility to OTK your opponent, swinging in for a bunch of damage. El Shaddoll Fusion for your last monster you need, swing for game. So it definitely has potential. Honestly, I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet, but 9 times out of, well, there's a very high likelihood I may switch this back to the second copy of Instant Fusion. Again, we shall see what happens in the future. Then for your trap lineup, Triple Desperado, Double Last Stand, and 1 Fiendish Deal. Unfortunately, I did have to cut the Evenly Matches from this, but they are in the side deck. Again, Evenly Match is definitely a card that can easily blow out a game, but I do have a very strong suspicion that it may be a card that gets up on the ban list. I could see it easily coming to 1 or even 2. But something does need to happen with it. Yes, it's a balanced card that your opponent doesn't, you have to basically skip your battle phase. But the mere fact that you can basically go. Your opponent can go like -4, -5 possibly on their field just from one trap card. Sure, you get to skip their damage, but they've already lost all their resources. They're banished face down. That's huge. So honestly, again, I would not be surprised if that just gets hit on ban list some way, whether it be down to 1 or down to 2, whichever it is. All right, going into the extra deck, we have El Shaddoll Apocolone. This is your effect negation. It's unfortunately not an ignition effect as soon as it pops out, like Construct or anything, but it is a free effect, monster effect negation should it happen to hit the field. It's definitely a good card to be putting into your deck. 2 Shaddoll Construct. Everybody basically knows what she does. It's when it attacks a special summon monster, destroy it. She gets to send a El Shaddoll card from your deck to your graveyard, so it's deck thinning, easily 2 of. The one Winda, again, we'll see how it works with the Stygian Street Patrol. I definitely want to try and get her in here and get her out as quickly as possible. Depending on the play, again, you can easily have Caspar, Starfire, what have you. Even again, Calamity. Have Calamity on field. Do whatever play you're going to do. Summon out Winda, and then another Shaddoll monster or your Magical Musket card comes out. And then you're able to keep going your play, and then you play Protect the Castle on your Winda. Again, your opponents aren't going to be able to destroy her. You can do easy things with battle manipulation with cross domination, or even just destroying any cards that could become a problem with Desperado. So it would definitely become a Protect the Castle, protecting Winda, making sure you keep her on the field to put a bottleneck on your opponent from being able to special summon out a bunch of monsters. So definitely would like to keep her in there. And then your 1,000 Eyes Restrict. Again, steal a monster, make a Linkuriboh. Then going into your links, you have your Appaloosa, Boral Sword, Unicorn, Cross Sheep, Gravity Controller, Linkuriboh. I have cut down Magical Musket max to 2, surprisingly. Because again, 9 times out of 10, I am now finding myself keeping the main monsters on the field over summoning him. Because, again, you get the summon out of your monster, cool. You get a summon out on him, 9 times out of 10, they are definitely going to like Solemn and stop that monster from coming out. Because again, they may allow you to go to summon out your monster, but as soon as you try and link summon out Max, you are not going to be able to get your play off and get all the advantage. It's definitely a win more card. So, but I am seeing myself not summoning him out as much as I used to, with there being triple Solemn Judgment, like all the different Solemns out there. I'm definitely seeing myself cutting this back to 2 now, unfortunately. Then for the Exceeds, you run 1 Abyss Dweller, and I am running 1 Dingirisu. Why, you may be asking? Because again, if I just happen to be going up against a Orcus deck, Mind Control is a very good card for me to be able to make my opponent go minus. Because again, I can Mind Control their I have to bait out obviously the Crescendo, obviously, to bait out that negation. If I can bait it out, cool. Activate Mind Control. Overlay onto the Galatea I just stole with Dingirisu. Send another card to grave. Swing. And now I have a 26 beater with protection. So I at least run one of. Again, I'm going to expect every once in a while to be running into an Orcus person. And to be able to steal that Galatea and make a Dingirisu of my own just seemed really funny. So we'll see what happens with that. Then going into the side deck, you won your 3rd Joel and Lock. Again, if the Nibiru's aren't working out, I'll gladly work in the Joel and Lockbirds. Triple Lancia for any Orcus Spiral players, anything that runs Master Move, Grand Maju, God forbid. It's an easy card to side in. Double Super Polymerization, double Dark Ruler no more, double Twin Twisters, double Ties of the Brethren. If I'm feeling that my opponent is going to make me go first, this has been such a helpful card. Hence, again, why it's like I'm not summing out Max as much as anymore, because activate Ties of the Brethren, pay $2,000, special summon 2 monsters of the same type, but with equal or less levels, I believe, or level 4 or lower, I believe. So again, pay 2,000. Your opponent takes no battle damage. Special summon 2. You can't special summon for the rest of the turn. But again, it's a free activation. activate behind a cast bar, you get to special summon 2, and then you get to search another card in your hand. You have 3 Magical Muskets on the field that your opponent has to deal with. So it was definitely a very helpful card. I'm glad I put it in. The card is definitely at least side deck worthy. It's not main deck worthy. So the main advantage I believe you get is that the deck is always a build go second, with going first possibilities. And then finally, you're triple evenly matched. Again, if there's a easy way to basically completely side out the entire Shaddoll engine, which I believe is 6 cards. So if that isn't working out for you, you can easily just put in evenly matches, those for back row, those for combo decks, and then your triple artifact Lancias. So it's a very easy engine that has a possibility for lots of advantage, but if the advantage isn't working, you can easily side out and put in all this to basically even out what you had. Well, other than that, that is basically the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I found this on YouTube. It was a very interesting deck profile, and again, from what I've been playing, it is definitely a deck that has a lot of potential. I believe I saw that it did recently top a regional, I think sometime in the past 2 weeks, I'm going to say. So the deck has a lot of possibilities. It has a lot of potential. I like it. But if you guys feel like you have any input or anything, any ideas, any cards I should keep in, any cards I should take out, be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to be seeing more deck profiles like this. Let me know what you guys think. And again, this is BB368, signing out.